Okay, I think we have everything set up. Food, drinks, and especially snacks. I even made sure to have all your favorites ready, because hey, that's what best friends do. I can also see that you've inhaled half of them. Don't worry, I've got plenty more downstairs. You already know where they are, because, you've been to my house like a million times. Anyways, it's time for this sleepover to begin. So, before we watch a movie and snuggle or something, hey, if that's something that you're up for, that is, just two best friends snuggling, as we do. But anyways, what I'm getting at here was, I was wondering if you could help me out with something first. See, I've been writing a story, right? And I was wondering if you could, sort of give me feedback. It's still in the early stages, it's a bit more of an outline, really. But anyway, I was thinking I could run you through the main points, and you could tell me your thoughts. Would that be alright with you? Great, that's great. I'm glad to hear it. So, where should I begin? Well, okay, first of all, I guess I should give you the main character first. He's a boy with hair colored just like mine. He lives in a house just like this one, and he has a friend of his with an eye color just like yours. In fact, that he loves very, very, very much. More than just a friend, actually. But the friend is very, very dense, and never really seems to realize it. In fact, the friend seems kind of slow to read between the lines in general. Okay, so what do you think of the main character so far? Nothing wrong with him, right? 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 Right. Nothing's wrong with him. Nothing at all. He didn't do anything wrong. Anyways, so this boy is madly in love with his friend. I'm talking about 200% crazy. Head over heels, absolutely nuts with love. His friend is just making him lose his mind. Hey, hopefully that won't be the only thing that they make him lose, but that's really difficult when the friend is so dense. So, the boy is really in love with his friend, but he can't confess because what if he gets rejected? He could never take that. It could even ruin their friendship. And that's maybe the one real emotional connection he has. Everything feels so lifeless and fake to him. So he really doesn't have the heart to confess directly. There's too much he could lose. So he sort of, kind of tries to feel things out, if you get what I'm saying. He tries to make little illustrations here and there, trying to test his friend's reaction, seeing if it's okay to confess yet. Sometimes he even flirts in a sort of indirect way, but of course the friend is hopelessly dense, so this sort of method never really works for him. He even has to snuggle a lot, and when he gets to, he always makes these flirty remarks like, "You're so good at snuggling. I wish I was the boyfriend of someone who snuggled like you." Or something like that. The friend still doesn't get it, of course. The boy does everything. He even always makes sure that the friend's favorite snacks are in his cupboard. But of course, the significance of this goes unnoticed. Okay, so now what do you think so far? Right? So far so good? He didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with him trying to be indirect and test the waters. Nothing wrong with him trying to protect his relationship or his happiness. If anything, the friend should have really noticed his feelings, am I right? But I'm not done yet. Let me go on with the story. So, the boy cannot get enough of his friend. He really wants to be romantic with them. He wishes they were a couple, but he can't seize that dream. So he fantasizes a little bit. Innocent little fantasies. Everyone has them about their crush, right? He does too. Innocent little fantasies, like holding their hand, hugging them, getting married to them, but that's still not enough. He just wants to bring the fantasies a little bit more to reality. So he takes a photo of himself and his friend together and works a little editing magic on it to make it look like a wedding photo, suit and all. And it makes him so happy to finally just have a little bit of that fantasy come to life. You know, something tangible. He looks at the photo every day, every single night. He makes it his phone background. He frames a copy of it and even sleeps next to it. It's the one thing that gives him peace of mind when he's usually such an insomniac because he's not getting his happily ever after. But he can't be satisfied with that. Not with just a photo. It's still missing something. His fantasy still isn't physical enough. He thinks of all the times he's snuggled with his friends and how lovely it would be to feel like that when they weren't around to snuggle. So he thinks about his friend's sweater and how if he wore it, it would sort of feel like he was snuggling with them. And he needs that. He needs that very, very much. So one day, when his friend isn't paying attention, he ever so delicately swipes the sweater and replaces it with an identical one. He gets away with it completely. He keeps a straight face the entire day and smiles at his friend like usual. He laughs with them like usual, and they don't suspect a thing. And he loves the sweater. He treasures it. He cherishes it. And goes to sleep with it every single night, pretending like it's his friend all around him and not just their sweater. And I would ask what you think of him right now, but I think I already know the answer. It's fine. He's fine. He didn't do anything wrong. He's just acting out of love. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with loving his friend, who just happens to have the same eye color as you and the same hair color as you, and who also happens to love the exact same snacks as you. There's nothing wrong with the main character being a little bit romantic. But because he's so romantic, he just can't settle down. He cannot be happy with just a sweater. As great as it is, it's still just a sweater, you know? It's not as great as the real thing, and he's just torn apart that he can't spend more time with his friend. Every second that he's away from his friend, it's just eating away at his insides, little by little, every time. And he cannot take it anymore. He wants to spend every waking moment with them, but obviously that's not possible. So he starts watching that friend. It starts with just watching them from the bushes at first, or maybe from behind a car or something like that. And he wakes up every day smiling because he knows today he can watch his friend again. Then, after a while, he gets an idea. He sets up cameras, very hidden cameras, like the kind of cameras you wouldn't notice. And of course, he's especially sure to set them up in his friend's room. So now he can watch them all the time. They probably wouldn't let him sleep over every single day, right? That would be completely unreasonable. But now he can watch his friend fall asleep every single day. It's almost like they're a couple. But they're not. They're not a couple. He's a great character, right? You don't have to say anything about it. I already know. He's fine. He's fine. He didn't do anything wrong. But, like I was saying, they're not a couple. And, in a way, watching his friend all the time through the cameras makes him extremely aware of that. Because, yes, he can see all the things his friend does, but that also shows him all the attention that he gets from other people, and he just feels so neglected. When he sees them sharing a meal with others, he thinks, that should be me sharing a meal with them. When he sees them laughing and joking with other people, he thinks, that should be me. When he sees them talking to others, he thinks, that should be me. And he tries to keep it together. Of course he tries. And he tries, and he tries, and he tries. He never does anything wrong. He tries so hard to keep his feelings buried down within his heart, because he doesn't want to hurt all the people coming between him and his friend. Even though he might. He doesn't want to be destructive or harmful, especially not around his sweetheart. But he can't keep his feelings buried inside of his heart, right? His jealousy, his resentment towards all his feelings of neglect. They all get a bit more heated day after day until, inevitably, the entire thing just boils over. So, he invites his friend over to a sleepover, just like this one, in fact. And the one thing he wants more than anything is to just be accepted. But it's so hard to even ask for that. If he tries to ask in a more direct way, he just stutters like a bumbling idiot. So he confesses about his feelings, he confesses about everything he's done. But he does it in a very indirect way. He confesses as if it were a character in his story that felt and did all these things and not himself. But he's worried. He's still so worried. What if he isn't accepted? What if they try to run away? So he has a backup plan. He has some rope that he keeps under his bed. It looks just like my bed right here. And he also drugged the snacks that his friend ate earlier. You know, the very same kind of snacks you helped yourself to just now. That way they can't get away, even if they wanted to. But why would they want to? He didn't do anything wrong. Don't you think so too? So, what do you think the friend will do now? Are you leaving?